The night was too quiet, the kind of silence that makes you feel like something is watching, even when you're alone. At 2:17 a.m., my phone rang. I looked at the screen and felt my heart stop. The caller ID said, "Mom," I answered. There was only static. Then I heard breathing, slow, close, and not human. When she spoke, it was her voice. Familiar, gentle, but empty, like it didn't belong to the living anymore. She said she was outside, and then the knocking began. A message appeared on my phone. It knew things only my mother knew. That's when I realized this wasn't a prank. I remembered her last warning before she died. If I ever call you from somewhere I shouldn't, don't answer. By morning, the calls stopped. My mother's name was gone, replaced by one word, unknown. Subscribe. At exactly midnight, the old clock struck 13, and time broke the rules. The next morning, everyone woke up normal, except one full hour was gone. People felt uneasy. Objects moved. Animals reacted. Something had happened during the missing hour. The clock had done this before. Every century, it stole 1 hour from the town. That night, she returned to the clock, knowing the truth was waiting there. The lost hour wasn't gone. It was trapped, alive inside the clock. When the clock was reset, the stolen hour finally escaped. The town moved on. But some memories are never truly forgotten. Subscribe for daily mysteries. They said the radio was broken, forgotten, useless. Yet every night at the same hour, it came alive, whispering into the dark. The songs weren't old and they weren't new. They felt like echoes from tomorrow, already knowing what my life was about to become. I didn't go looking for a pet that night, but the cat was already waiting, as if it had been sent to find me. It followed my routines perfectly, moving before I moved, stopping before I decided, like it was living seconds ahead of me. Then the music faded, the silence grew heavy, and the radio changed its tone, as if it had something final to say. When the announcer read my name, my heart stopped, because the future wasn't guessing anymore. It was certain. I followed the cat through empty streets and flickering lights, trusting it more than my own fear, not knowing where it would lead. When the sun rose, the radio was silent forever. And I understood. Some futures can be changed if you listen carefully. At the end of a quiet street stood an antique shop filled with forgotten things. On the highest shelf, one porcelain doll waited, watching, never blinking. Customers felt uneasy inside the shop. When they looked away, something moved. Just once. The doll knew when it was safe to blink. The cameras caught it at 2:17 a.m. The lights flickered, and for a single frame, the doll's eyes closed. Porcelain doesn't blink, but this one did. When the man picked up the doll, the room went silent. He said it felt familiar. What he didn't know was that the doll had chosen him. That night, he couldn't sleep. Every time he opened his eyes, the doll was staring back, wide, unblinking. Days passed, and blinking became painful. Each morning, the doll was closer. It wasn't moving. It was feeding. Tears fell as he stared. Then the doll smiled and blinked slowly. And when it did, so did he. They found him frozen, eyes wide forever. The doll was gone, back on the shelf, waiting for someone else to blink first. He trusted his GPS more than his instincts. Every night, it guided him home. Or so he thought. It started with a simple reroute, a road that didn't exist on any map. The road felt endless. The signs, the trees. He had seen them before. No signal, no service. Yet the GPS kept guiding him confidently. This time, the road narrowed. The air grew heavy. Turning back no longer felt possible. Then the voice spoke clearly. "You have arrived at your destination." There was nothing there. No house, no lights, just silence, and the sound of the locks clicking. The screen lit up one last time. The destination name read, "The door wasn't here yesterday. I know that for sure. Basements don't change overnight, do they? Every instinct tells me to walk away, but curiosity has always been louder than fear. When the door opens, light pours out. Not strange light, familiar light. It's my bedroom, every object, every shadow frozen exactly as I remember it. And then I see him, lying there, breathing, living the life I thought was mine. His eyes twitch. His body shifts. Somehow, he knows I'm here. The walls begin to bend. The air feels wrong. That's when I realize the door is disappearing. If only one of us can exist outside this room, then tell me, which one is real when the eyes open? This is Aisha, the girl who could never say no. She helped everyone, even when it wore her out. People asked for favors more and more, and she said yes every single time. But in helping everyone else, Aisha's own needs were forgotten, and she began to feel invisible. One night, alone and exhausted, she realized she had reached her limit. Looking in the mirror, she finally understood something important. Her peace was hers to protect. The next request came, and for the first time, she said no, and nothing broke. With boundaries, Aisha felt lighter, free to walk her own path at her own pace. She learned that saying no is not rude, it is self-respect. Boundaries protect peace. Subscribe! Tunde was careless with his words. He talked too much and never thought about how people felt. The quiet sister. His younger sister admired him and stayed close, hoping he would treat her kindly. Words that cut. During an argument, Tunde said things that hurt her deeply. The walk away. She didn't argue or shout. She turned around and walked away in silence. The heavy silence. Days passed, and the house became quiet. She avoided him, and the silence grew heavy. The realization. Later, Tunde found out she was seriously ill, and regret finally hit him. Apology too late. He apologized beside her bed, but she could no longer speak. The lesson remains. That day, he learned to say sorry early, before silence replaces words. There was a student who always sat at the back of the class. Quiet, observant, invisible. While others spoke freely, he chose silence. Every question felt familiar to him. He knew the answers before the teacher finished speaking. But fear held his voice hostage. His notebook told a different story. Correct answers. Perfect understanding. A mind sharp enough to lead, hidden behind silence. Others spoke confidently, even when they were wrong. And the world listened. Meanwhile, the truth stayed seated at the back. Results were posted. Cheers filled the room. His name was there, but recognition wasn't. Opportunities were given to those who spoke up, not to those who stayed quiet. And once again, silence cost him. Years later, he finally understood the mistake. Knowing was never the problem. Being unheard was. That day, he promised himself something simple but powerful. Never let silence speak louder than your potential. Because the world cannot reward what it cannot hear. I was already nervous before the ultrasound even started. The room felt too quiet, like it was waiting for something to happen. Then the technician leaned closer to the screen. And I swear I heard him whisper, "It's still hungry." My heart skipped. I knew I didn't imagine it. When I asked him what he said, he denied it. Turned off the machine like nothing happened. But the feeling didn't leave with the screen. After that day, I couldn't stop eating. No matter how much I ate, the hunger stayed. It felt deeper than cravings. It felt wrong. At night, I dreamed of darkness, of something moving, chewing, growing. I'd wake up shaking, already hungry again. The second ultrasound was worse. The screen showed movement that didn't look human. And this time, the technician looked scared too. The machine started beeping like it was panicking. Then the voice came back, clearer than before. "It's still hungry." Later, alone, I felt it move. When I touched my stomach, something pushed back. That's when I knew it wasn't just growing. It was feeding. Subscribe if you love your parent.